So dubstep. Dubstep was almost exclusively, until drummers started doing it fairly recently, it was almost exclusively a club form. It started in South London in the early 2000s and started to become popular and come out of the clubs and go on to radio and that sort of thing from about 2006 through into 2010, 2011, at which point some very famous American DJs started also making the music. So it started in the UK and London. You've got people like deadmau5, Nero, they were very important exponents of it in its early days. And it's a progression through, in terms of the other lessons that I've been doing, it takes you through breakbeat, drum and bass, and two-step. Looked them up, I had to. The two-step bit is interesting because that's physically, in terms of what you're playing, that's what happens. Two-step really refers to half time. So if you're dealing with eighth notes, quavers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you'll then, in your mind, you're halving it and you're trying to constantly echo that. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, and that's what you're dealing with. So two-step was a club dance form, but in drumming, it relates in terms of the fact that you're having to use your inner mechanisms to think in half time all the time. So I'll explain that in a minute. I just wanted to mention Skrillex, who was responsible for making the form explode, really. He's an American DJ, a very good one. Very famous track of his, Cinema. If you've not checked that out, do. I found it quite influential and made me think differently about how I use my bass drum. It's a fusion of two major components in drumming. So you've got a 70s rock drumming attitude, particularly an English rock drumming attitude. People such as John Bonham is a fantastic example. And then drum and bass. And you sort of thinking the two things in parallel, so that the two-step element, the halftime element, is a rock drumming way of playing and thinking, which I'll demonstrate actually. For the 70s rock element, I find this Exist Ion Crash great for its trashy qualities and its, special effects qualities. It's brilliant for this. So I'm going to demonstrate the more straight rock quarter note element of it. Something like that. If we move that over here, I'll keep the eighth notes. What a lot of the guys in the 70s did is to make that more powerful. They'd halve what was going on here. What that does is it brings the beats out, it brings the relationship between the snare and the bass drum forward, and it gives it more punch. Then with the drum and bass element, what happens there is you bring in cut-up technique. We've gone from the amen break. We're taking little sections of the second two bars of the amen break and we're cutting them up. So you're going to intersperse that underneath this quarter note feel. And what that does is it gives you a conversation that you're having with yourself almost. And it's a fusion of two things, actually three. So it's a fusion of breakbeat, drum and bass, and this halftime two-step thing. So I'll do a beat that's more associated with what I performed at the beginning of the video. I'll play it a bit slower though, and I'll just play it for a bit and you can see how I'm working it, and then I'll try and explain it a bit more and then have a look at what I'm doing at the end. So let me show you this. I find silences, as I said in the previous video, fascinating in drumming. And it's something that I noticed Buddy Rich do when I was lucky enough to see him. I think I was 14. And even though he was one of the most technically accomplished drummers of all time, I found out recently he started touring when he was 4, which I still can't get my head around. What was fascinating to me about what he did was how much space there was in between the notes. And to make dubstep sound great, you have to be very, very aware of the in-betweens. And actually they're more important than the flow of the notes. Something else I'd like to just very quickly show you in this video is 2 fills that myself and my more advanced students like. And it works really well in dubstep, but you can use it in anything. I can't profess that I made these up. I've seen lots and lots of drummers do these. So one's a quads fill that I played in the first performance that I did, which is this. It's basically right, left, if you're right-handed. So it's 2 notes with the hands and 2 with the bass drum to create a 4 that move around, which is this. It's nice, fast. So I mean, if we're playing at the dubstep speed, you're looking at that kind of speed. The other one is quintuplets. That's a 4-stroke rough with your hands and a single with the bass drum. And you want to get them tight together so you're playing them as a solid 5. And that's this. And they're nice, really fast. So they're lovely to put into dubstep. So I think that's it. The easiest way for you to understand how to do this really is for me to play it. So what I'll do is I'll start more slowly and I'll just improvise around it, and then I'll bring it up to speed, and that should cover it really. Good luck, enjoy. I love doing dubstep. You're going to need to learn how to do drum and bass first to be able to achieve this. Get into it, have a listen to people like Skrillex and particularly deadmau5, and I'll see you on the next video.